Welcome, everyone. This is the Beer Guys Radio Show. You know, a minute never seems longer than when you're set and waiting for a timer to count down. It just
That's
seems
true.
like the longest amount of time there. So it's crazy, but after a full minute of waiting, we are here. Y'all going to be a little different than our original plan. If you saw some of our posts that put out, we intended to have Larry Horvitz join us today. Larry had a last minute emergency and was not able to schedule so we're calling this one Winging It with the Beer Guys. We've always got stuff to talk about. We can run our mouths about beer pretty much continuously, I think. And we liquored Smalls up pretty good before getting on, so she could some of that social lubrication that we all enjoy so much there. But I'm going to get into my beer, and from our good friends at Three Taverns, I've got a Beeps. Good old lager. Smalls is rocking the Beeps shirt and the Beeps beer. She's nice. Double beepsing over there.
Double beeping.
I didn't get the memo. I don't have beeps right now.
I didn't bring my beeps up.
Did you drink all yours that you had, Brian?
No, I've got a few left.
Okay.
I think I was hanging on to them for at least a couple of them for like the lager show that we were planning on doing, and that just hasn't happened. So
Beeps.
I just felt it was appropriate since I'm here. You're probably going to have to beat me half the time.
That's it.
Probably.
Watch it. Behave, Smalls. Behave.
Many beeps
I'll
for
try.
Smalls.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. That's a good beer. I mean, beer flavored beer. We love it. And let me get this poured on up, and then all right, y'all. Let's see. Oh, we got one comment here. Let's see what we got. Two comments there. Billy, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in there. And we're going. We're yes, guys and gals. So that topic comes up a lot, Smalls.
Okay, for the record, I am from the Midwest, and it does not bother me if you call me a guy. I say guys all the time. It doesn't bother me. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, the phrase "beer guys" it's all inclusive.
It's
universal.
I'm an '80s baby.
It's
I grew up in the
gender neutral.
'90s. It's fine. It's gender neutral.
It's a unisex word. In fact, I've even seen movies where a group of girls are together, and one of the girls says to the other girls, "Hey guys, what do you want to do?" Or "Hey guys, we're gonna go do this."
I do that all the time. Like
because it doesn't. I get it.
It's universal.
Guy can be a guy, but it's just become slang for just what do you people want? So
for the millionth time, setting the record straight, I am not offended.
Yeah, there we go. It is official. It's
officially
on record there. So, all right. Let's see. Let me get down here, get our intro music so we can get into the podcasting part of the show. All right, y'all. Here we go. And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining this week. We greatly appreciate it. We are here having a beer, going to have some good conversation. Now, a warning, if you saw our marketing or social media posts leading up to this show, we mentioned that we were going to have Larry Horvitz joining us today. Larry had a last-minute emergency, and he had to cancel. So we are calling this episode Winging It with the Beer Guys, but we do have some hot topics to cover. We got some great stuff. Of course, I'm Tim Dennis. I'm here. Brian Hewitt is here with me. Mike Nate is here with me, and Smalls is here.
I was called in.
We're doing so. I've got a Beeps beer here. Beeps from Three Taverns, just a good old classic lager. And for those that are not watching the live stream, Beeps is Smalls is rocking a Beeps t-shirt as well. So she's doubling up on the Beeps there, and beer flavored beer.
Such great advertising for that, the old retro throwback stuff.
Yeah, I love I love retro stuff. I'm very into retro futuristic. I don't know if that's the exact term that they use for it. Like the Fallout video games. For anybody familiar with those, it had a very 50s lifestyle kind of feel, but they also have like nuclear powered cars and all of that. And there's TV shows, just anything that has that retro futuristic vibe to it, or just plain retro. Like I sometimes go on YouTube and I'll watch commercials from the 50s just because I'm weird.
So steampunk with nukes, basically. And I think it is called retrofuturism.
Yeah. So it's cool. Brian, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. So we've got, as you were saying, we've got some interesting news this week. We've got some actually pretty big news about breweries changing hands. A lot of them. It's madness. I've got some interesting stuff about sales of beer in Germany. And I mean, we've got some other topics on the board, perhaps a fish board or a butter board. Probably not a butter
Butterboards.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know about that, but yeah, we've got a full house. It's all the beer guys are here.
Yes.
In the virtual studio.
They are.
And
the gender neutral, all inclusive guys.
Yes.
Guys.
Right? Yeah. Good stuff. Awesome. Nate, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's been kind of a long week. I'm surprised that we made it to the next Wednesday, but we're here and we're winging it. And have a good time.
Like we made it. Looks like we made it.
We
and
have made it.
Smalls, how in the heck are you? It's good to have you here.
I'm good. I am wonderful. I want to reach out to the listeners and ask them for recommendations when I go to Brazil in a couple of weeks and to the UK for a couple of weeks. If you have any recommendations for breweries, please let me know so I can check them out.
Yeah, I don't know about Brazil, but I know we got people in the network that'll be able to help you with UK there. So,
for sure, yeah.
And look, Smalls, you're already getting votes of confidence here. It says we're not winging it if Smalls is on board. So we're great here.
You just got to get ready to beep me out.
No, you got to behave. You have behaved.
Yeah, behave.
That's so hard. I mean, I've got my Angel's Envy here. I got my Beef's beer. I'm double fisting.
Margaritas, whiskey.
Yeah, margaritas earlier. It's been a day.
Yeah,
I have to tell you all later. It's been a day.
Okay, I may just want to mute you now and leave it that way through the show, right? So
I could just sit and look pretty. That's all I do during the day job too.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
There you go. That's sometimes you got to do it. But
that's basically a Boilermaker. So Beeps and what was it? What was
Angel's
the
Envy?
Angel's Envy? Or is it the rye or the bourbon?
The bourbon.
The bourbon. Okay. I like the rye more, but I'm not gonna hate on.
Well, I bought this because of the side project I'm working on right now. I needed the label art.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's almost done.
Is yours crochet or knitting?
Crochet. I'm an old lady. Okay. I crochet.
Okay. If you haven't seen any of Smalls's work, she did a Jeff Goldblum blanket.
Yes.
Went viral, didn't it?
It went viral on Reddit. It went viral.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of random stuff. I did Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
I did. Oh goodness, I'm forgetting off the top of my head. The gals from the was the Witches movie that's very popular at Halloween.
Oh, what is that? Is it called Witches?
No,
I don't know what
I can't believe I
no.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Is it Wicked? No, that's
not Wicked.
It's
got
Nate, Google that one Halloween movie with witches. I bet it
pulls
that
up. I did. This is terrible.
What it is. So
I'm a terrible person.
It's got old girl from Sex in the
Bette
City.
Midler,
yeah,
right?
Bette Midler, Sex in the City. Yeah.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. Yeah, the Hocus Pocus blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look for Halloween movies, you just get all the Halloween movies, literally Halloween. So
Yep. And the Angel's Envy one. I've seen progress pics and that looks really, really cool.
Yeah, that one's been challenging and fun. I thought the Hocus Pocus one was terrible, but no, this one's been a next level of cussing. It's fine. I crochet with cussing, not with love. The same way I don't cook with love. I cook with cussing.
So Smalls, that kind of ties into something we were going to talk about today because you talk about crocheting with cussing, and I've seen some of your posts and your memes and everything. Any hobby has its underbelly, I'm going to say. You've got your memes, you've got your inside jokes, you've got things like that. And I stumbled on one the other day that I had no idea existed. I didn't think it would exist, but Brian and I have been on a seafood quest lately. And
where's my invite?
Yeah, we'll give you a shout. You'll have to go next. So there's this place in Atlanta. For those that aren't in Atlanta, there's a place in Atlanta called Fishmonger. And they've got a few locations, but they have stuff like flown in daily, fresh, super fresh oysters and all this stuff. And we've eaten there a lot. And they had a selection of tinned seafood there. And, like sardines and also, octopus, squid, just pretty much any kind of seafood.
Oysters.
And I've heard in Spain that this isn't anything new, that a lot of the tapas places there, you'll go in and there'll be wine and just a selection of these tinned seafoods around there. But anyhow, I discovered, because I've started eating a little more tinned seafood, that there is the underbelly of that too. Like people who are obsessive about it. And like we joke about our beer cellars being full of beer, and they're joking about I saw a meme where it showed someone kind of giving someone stink eye, and it says, my cans of sardines when I go out and buy more sardines. And I'm like, well, that's a beer cellar. You know, that's exactly the way that
I've
works.
got a sardine cellar.
Yeah,
All right. When the apocalypse happens, we're all going to have our different tribes. So you got the beer tribe. You're going to have the tin seafood tribe. We're all going to be trading and whatnot. And
we'll have to come together. We'll have to use we'll have to activate our Wonder Twin powers to bring together. But man, we are going to eat good when we get everybody together. But
beefs will be the currency.
Brian, I did a little Googling today, as I'm known to do, at pairing beer and various tinned seafoods there. So I've got some of my own ideas on this, but I also found some from the internet, people who were well versed in both seafood and beer, tinned seafood and beer. And as with anything, Reddit has a subreddit for tinned seafood. I believe it's called Canned Sardines. And they were talking about there's a group out in Las Vegas that has a monthly like tinned fish club, and they met at a brewery there. So they did beer and various tinned fish pairings. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm going to have to pester one of the brewers here in Atlanta to do something like that. I bet we can make that happen. But Brian, did you have something to add there, sir?
I was just thinking, let's bring Kolsch service and seafood service together.
Yeah.
So they bring around a tin of seafood and a Kolsch until you turn your coaster over.
I'm in. You know what? There's a good idea. We'll get with the guys at Halfway Crooks and we'll see if we can turn the beer garden into a tinned fish service there. But
and I don't think you need to even refrigerate it. So easy enough. They just need boxes and boxes of sardines, and they could just like, would you care for some sardines with your Kolsch?
That's it, man. And you know, it'd be easy enough to price out a ticket there. Maybe that's it. We've talked about beer festivals and how experiences are more the thing now than just a let's chug beer kind of fest. You want to go for something with a meaning, and maybe we can add in some tinned seafood. I wonder if we can get with Todd over at
Le Bon.
Goodword for Le Bon to see if we can get a tinned seafood table out there. So
maybe we have to set it up.
We may have to do it. We may
beer guy / tin
you get a beer guy sticker. You get some tin seafood.
We'll get a piece of tape, a piece of your blue painter's tape you carry everywhere, and put "and seafood" and put that on our tent.
Yeah,
beer guys radio and seafood
seafood.
Yeah, but Brian, Smalls, Nate, pairings, and Nate, I know this is going to do you absolutely no good because I imagine you'd rather poke your own eyes out than to eat a can of fish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have zero experience with any of this.
What do you think about it? Sardines, kippers, smoked oysters, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll eat it. Like, I love seafood. I mean, I prefer the fresh seafood, but when you get the can, it's fine. I'll definitely eat it. Like, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking the other day, I was like, man, right now is shrimp season right now in Georgia. I really need to get me some shrimp, throw it on the grill, and I'm digging it.
You know something I found out talking about the freshness, some of these tinned seafoods, like the higher quality brands, they're good. I mean, it doesn't have the same consistency as like a fresh grilled piece of fish or something, but quality wise, they're up there. But anyhow, looking at canned seafood and beer pairings, Brian, it's suggesting we were going to pair this up with Larry's beer that he sent us. We'll hold that for when he gets on the show, but like a real oily fish, a Bavarian Weiss beer or a wit beer, a Belgian wit was recommended there. You know, I guess kind of cut the oil. You've got something there to go with it. For lighter flavored fish, someone said just a basic Pilsner would be good. My opinion, I think a Saison or a Goose would be really nice, you know, with some lighter fish there. I would challenge it and try and get stronger seafood because I think there may be a point where you need to go from the Saison to the Goose to have the higher acidity to cut that.
Yes.
But I wouldn't mind playing around a little bit to see, you know, what they had there to get that. And then meatier, stronger fish, smoked fish, or what they call a conserva, like with mussels or oysters. A stout was recommended, you know, maybe something like a Guinness, you know, a good drinkable stout, a brown ale, something along those lines. And I read for something like a heavily brined fish, something maybe packed, you know, in a heavy brine, very salty, an American pale ale. And they made a note, get the freshest American pale ale you can get, and don't step it up to the IPA. You don't want the hops level or the bitterness that far, but you want that, you know, the hop tones there to help you kind of cut that saltiness. So Brian, any thoughts on that?
That makes a lot of sense. I was thinking with the heavily brined fish, if you go for the like for like thing, if you can still find them, might be hard to find something that's not from Europe, but just a plain Goza with a little bit of a salinity in the beer to see I would try that just to see what that's like, and
Salt
just
on salt. That sounds
the like for like. And I think that you'd find that the other notes of the Goza would come out because the brine would kind of cancel out that any salinity that's there. Now, the salinity itself may just be enough to give you body, but if you go for like the Westbrook Goza, it's a potent thing. So it'd be really interesting to go with one of those, as long as you can handle all the sodium, just to see what does the Goza taste like when you pair it with something super briny. Do you get something out of that Goza that you wouldn't ordinarily notice? Because I think you would. And my other thought was it makes sense to go with the stout with the oysters, because don't people do a lot of oyster stouts already?
Oyster stout,
I'm like,
yeah.
it's
That
already kind of
brine
a given.
That's one thing, even talking with the briny fish, that brininess of the oysters pairs well with the stout. So rather than an American Pale Ale, maybe get you a nice stout with a good roasty character to it there.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would probably go well. Actually, I want to try that now. I think that would be good. So, Smalls, you have any thoughts on any of that madness?
I do, because I think if you start pairing the Goza, the lemon's going to come out a little bit more, because the salt and salt's going to, kind of cancel each other out. And of course, as Brian has mentioned, the oyster stouts and things of that nature, I think those would go well. Okay, so the next time you're at my house, we're going to do this. We're going to just do a whole bunch of tin fish pairings.
I'm in.
Or Nate, I see Nate's face and he's against it. So
I'll show up, but I'm not going to do anything.
We'll have other pairings for you. But yes, for the three of us weirdos, we're going to do that.
We'll get attendees there for you, Nate.
We'll get a tin, but the tin will have only goldfish crackers in it, so he can play along.
Yeah, easy enough. I know that Nate is a fan of those peanut butter filled pretzels, so we get a bucket of those, and he won't care about our tin fish party at all.
Shape them like fish.
Nate, what's a good beer to pair with peanut butter pretzels?
Oh man, gosh, my first thought was actually going with just like a regular light lager, like Boots. Honestly, I would do Boots with peanut butter, because I don't want that. I think that peanut butter would dominate any sort of hop flavor of an IPA. But I actually had an idea for a fish pairing, even though I'm not into fish.
Tell us about it. We got to hear it, man. We got to hear it.
I was gonna take like a grisette. So it's got a little wheat, and I was thinking about pairing that with either the oily fish or even a lighter flavored fish.
I think I'm down with trying that out. And you know what, Nate? Serious with your pretzels and peanut butter, it's almost stepping into the season it is into Oktoberfest season, and a Marzen or a Fest beer would actually pair really darn nice with that. So
I just didn't want to insult you with suggesting that before September
it's
1.
Fine. We can put it on the list for September 1st.
It's too late to trigger us, because we've already seen so much triggering material on
They've already
social
been
media.
Triggered.
Everybody's talking about. I actually walked through a beer store earlier today, and it was multiple displays of pumpkin beers, and I was like, what's going on? It's so hot. It's August. No pumpkins.
But
not even Oktoberfest is pumpkins.
Yeah,
stouts are always okay.
I feel a little hypocritical because I'm so adamant on the seasonality of stuff like Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers, but I do give stouts. But stouts they're year round. They're stouts.
I'll give you that. The other day I was like, man, I could really go for a stout. I know it's 90, but I'm digging a stout right now.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
I had the other feeling. I usually am game for a stout anytime. I drank a stout recently, and I think maybe it was because of the heat, or just, I don't know, the fatigue of all the intensity of the beer. It just didn't taste good. I'm like, man, I would kick a baby to get a Pilsner right now. So
how did you store it?
That should be a t-shirt.
I would kick a baby for a Pilsner.
Kick a baby for a Pilsner.
I mean, I would wear that. I don't think my brother would be happy right now because he just had a baby. But
I didn't say it was your particular baby. Just one in
the generic.
My poor niece, but I would totally wear that.
It'd be wear it with holding the baby. Get a picture holding the baby with that shirt. And see, Patrick, I wondered if you were going to pop in here when I said a stout for all seasons. I knew, I knew that may be there. So yeah, we did, and I think we've shared this a few times, but we actually have a show out that we did called Stouts Are for Summer. So we do allow them anytime. But we're going to move along here. Brian, would you share with us the beers of the week?
All righty. So for the beers of the week, for my pregame beer, I was drinking a Deschutes Bitburger collaboration called Dry Hop Zwickel, which I've had before. It was quite nice. But I'm getting into now a dark lager spelled as though I were harvesting logs as a woodsman from Myers Creek, and I believe they're out of New York somewhere. I'm not very familiar with the brewery, but it's a dark lager made with 100% New York State ingredients and Cascade hops that are grown on the brewery's property, which is pretty cool. And I'm drinking that now. It's pretty enjoyable. I also picked up something else, and this is not something I even looked for. It just I'm still part of a beer subscription program that my sister signed me up for. It's Decadent Ales AC/DC Power Up Juicy IPA, which is a collaboration with, I think, the band, or it's inspired by their Power Up album that just recently came out. And a number of breweries have done this, but it's, again, a juicy IPA, New England IPA. The big noteworthy thing there, of course, the ABV is 6.66%. So
it's got to be edgy, man.
That's got to be. So Nate, you've got the Blue Jacket, the both melt. Is it they both melt or the both melt?
I probably mistyped that. They
it's
both
a dunkel,
melt
though.
Yeah, it's a they both melt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you're working on after that an El Segundo. Greetings from El Segundo Anniversary Ale. It's a triple IPA, and I know Tim and Becky both have been getting into Three Taverns Beeps, that wonderful throwback beer. And I forgot to mention that we got to thank the Nest for sponsoring this segment. And wonderful craft beer, wonderful barbecue. I love the barbecue there. I really love the tap list. I heard people talking recently about how many taps is the right amount of taps. And somebody was saying, 10, 12. I'm like, that's what I want to see. Maybe if you go to a craft brewery, but when I'm going to a place like an actual beer bar, I'd like to see more than that. I like more options because I want to see, there's so much good beer out there. And I know the Nest has got, I don't even know the number. Like, is it 30?
I don't know, but they do a stellar job. And my favorite thing is when they do the chefs versus the brewers event once a year. Like, such amazing food and the pairings and whatnot.
Well, and I like that you can get different size pours, that they don't force you into a 16 ounce. You can try a 4 ounce of something that you're maybe on the fence about, or you can commit to a full 16.
Absolutely. I do like that. And I do take advantage of that because you know what? If you're there and you've got places you need to go and you have a lot of things, there's a lot of options, a lot of things you want to try, get half of a pour and try all the things you want to try. And then they always have cold brew coffee. And I believe it's the Apotheos coffee that they typically have on there. And so if you have a few and you want to make sure you're, perked up and ready to go, or you're just feeling a little tired, get you a cold brew coffee on tap there. So that's great. Of course, like I said, the barbecue's fantastic. The smoked wings are wonderful. Enjoy the ribs, and you just can't go wrong with anything. I know they're doing a bunch of deals for lunch right now, like a bunch of less lunch priced menu items, which makes people happy. So that's available all throughout the week. So you need to drop by, check them out. Have fun, do some trivia, do whatever they have to be doing that week. So cheers to the Nest. And did anybody else have any beers that I missed? Smalls, did you have anything else?
No, I was drinking Beeps, and like I said, I'm double fisting with whiskey on the other side too.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You got
trying to put hair on my chest so I can be a real guy. That's what we're doing.
There you go. Then we will be saying guys with no sense of irony whatsoever.
That's right.
So, yeah,
there'll be no questions. We'll be past that.
Indeed. So I think we're going to move on into the next story. Tim seems to be having a little technical difficulties, but Tilray Brands, if you guys have heard of them, you probably have. They've been big in the news this week. They are buying 8 beer and beverage companies from Anheuser-Busch, 8 of them.
Wow.
Tilray Brands, of course, is the cannabis lifestyle company that already owns Atlanta Sweetwater Brewing, Alpine Beer, Green Flash, and Montauk Brewing Company. The breweries that they are buying from AB InBev include Shock Top, which is the biggest. They're producing 170,000 barrels of beer in 2022, so that's a huge buy. Breckenridge Brewery, Blue Point Brewery, 10 Barrel Brewing, Red Hook Brewery, Widmer Brothers Brewing, and two more, Square Mile Cider Company and Highball Energy Company, which was actually discontinued in May. So they bought a brand that's no longer being produced at the moment. So the Tilray CEO says this move solidifies their national leadership position and share in the U.S. craft beer brewing market and is a major step forward in their diversification strategy. Assuming the transaction goes off without a hitch, this will make Tilray the 5th largest craft beer brewer in the U.S., and they will have a 5% share of the craft beer market. Now, I say craft, and craft is kind of in quotes here because they haven't really been, any of those have been craft in quite a while. They will also go from selling 4 million cases annually with this to up to 12 million. So it's they're tripling their cases being sold. The transaction includes all the current employees, breweries, and brew pubs associated with these brands. So they get the whole thing. The purchase price paid in cash and the transaction, the purchase is being paid in cash, and it's reported to be $85 million for the deal, and it's expected to close by the end of this year. And it's a heck of a deal because Tilray spent $300 million on Sweetwater alone in 2020. So they're getting 8 different properties for $85 million. So it sounds like a heck of a deal to me, but what do you guys think? Is this smart in 2023, or are they buying sinking ships? Or are they buying a bunch of kind of pun not intended, but sort of intended anchors, basically, bone anchors? What do you think?
So I think it is. So I know there's a lot of nuance to all of this, but I saw something on Twitter where they said that the price they paid for this whole portfolio was actually less than what AB had paid for like one of the craft breweries before.
Yes.
So I am curious, Brian, did you see anything? Why did they buy a brand that was defunct? Why didn't they are they planning on reviving? Was there any information on that?
So there's a lot going into this. I think that it was hinted at that they may have just started with looking at buying Breckenridge initially because they already own, I think they own a property called Breckenridge Distilling, and I don't think it has any relationship to Breckenridge. And I think as negotiations went on, a lot more things were being added to, well, what can we get, and swapping and whatnot. I don't know. I think that part of it is the Highball Energy. They're looking at the future with the possibility of creating beverages that include some form of cannabis in them, and facilities that will make that easier for them to jump on that market when we finally completely legalize, marijuana, which likely is going to happen.
Beverage facilities that aren't producing alcohol, basically. That they
exactly. And
that's
so that was one of the things. They have capacity with that. They've got names that they can use, intellectual property there that they could use, and maybe they could throw a little I don't know if you can legally do it now, but maybe throw CBD into an energy drink so you're energetic but relaxed. I guess I don't know.
Seems counterproductive there to me, but
it does kind of, yeah.
If the price is right, I see that can be a good deal. And here's my thinking as someone who has no idea what he's talking about, or a little idea what he's talking about. Since they have several breweries, they could technically close a physical location and keep the brand going. So it's not like they're straddled with a single location. It's like this location produces this brand. If we can't afford to keep this facility open, then this brand goes away, or we contract it out or something like this. With this kind of deal, with having a huge portfolio like this, they don't have to make that decision. If one particular brewery is just not cutting it, that they're not doing enough in the tap room, it's just not worth it, they could close that physical location and still carry on that brand at one of their other breweries. Like we've seen here in Atlanta, Brian, with Sweetwater. We go down to the Sweetwater brewery there, and there's, Green Flash and Alpine on the taps now. And I think I saw someone comment that Montauk is on down there now as well, since that's another brand that they picked up. As I was browsing the internet, looking at comments and discussions on all of this, almost every one of those brands had somebody that said they loved so-and-so and missed so-and-so. Widmer has the Hefeweizen that's popular, and others. I think it was it Widmer that did the Burr and the Bourbon, like BRR?
Yes, I believe so. I had it.
Yeah, someone had commented
those
about
for the longest
those.
time. Yeah.
And, someone else mentioned, it was a discussion on Twitter today, I think maybe amongst some of the guys from Good Beer Hunting, that Shock Top is popular you can hate it all you want to. You can say whatever you want, but consumers buy Shock Top. So,
Yep.
as beer geeks and that, the Blue Moons and the Shock Tops of the world may not excite us, but that doesn't mean they're not popular with the average consumer out there. So my overall take on this, Brian, is if they got the right price on it and they got all of those brands in a bundle deal for a good price, each of those has some loyalty and some fans of certain beers. And if they do things right, they've done fairly well with Sweetwater,
Yes.
considering a pretty tough climate out there. And when they first acquired Sweetwater, I think it was Afria, maybe was that the company
Afria.
before
Yeah.
Tilray? But I was on the call where they talked about that transition. I mean, they've got huge plans, the U.S. and abroad. They're U.S., they're Canada, they're European, and they were talking about like in Europe, they do milk and stuff over there. So there's milk with THC. Maybe that can help your lactose tolerance, Brian.
Maybe.
At least
it can
forget about it.
make my digestive system just relax about the whole thing. Like, yeah, you can't handle lactose, but chill, man. Just chill.
Yeah. And Rich here says, he's like, it's a good investment. He's like, Brian, you're right. They're positioning for the future. There's a lot that they can do. So far, what they have done has seemed to be fairly good moves. So, I may eat these words in a year because craft beer is known to do that, but it looks like these guys know what they're up to there.
Yeah, they have reportedly, I don't have the figures in front of me, but I had seen somewhere that they had actually grown the sales. Sweetwater had been flat prior to the purchase and it had actually grown. But they also hugely increased the distribution of Sweetwater by opening up the Colorado facility.
Yeah.
And effectively, they've just bought 2 of these properties, including Widmer and I think the cider place. I'm not 100% sure about it. I don't know that one, but they bought they bought facilities in Portland, Oregon, which is a huge beer town. So
yeah,
I'm a Sweetwater IPA would sell reasonably well there, I think, especially if you were in a tap room that had 10 barrels, the other one, I think, Widmer and 10 barrel. 10 barrel is fairly popular. So if they had 10 barrel stuff and they had Sweetwater and they had Green Flash and they had Alpine, I think you'd get people in there and people would drink all of those things. So that would appeal to that demographic. And you've got some New England stuff that opens that market up for them to get all of their brands into. So anything that they make, they can sell from any of these tap rooms potentially. So they've just their distribution it just explodes. So this looks really smart, but again, we've seen other big behemoths come together and just not work out.
And with all of that said here, the market is different and continues to change. Mm-hmm. So, we have to see, how that goes. I'll tell you this, anytime you go to the Sweetwater Brewery in Atlanta, it's packed, it's packed.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So,
I remember going to my first just event or charity event was at Sweetwater before I even really got into craft beer. It was very popular back in the 2000s,
the aughts, back in the aughts. Yeah. Well, that's, we've seen Sweetwater grow up from, they basically own the better part of a city block now in Atlanta, a fairly large campus that they have there. And I remember going there when it was the one building and that was everything. That was the warehouse, the brew house, the storage and everything. And now they've got, they opened the Woodlands, which originally was going to be like a mixed firm and sour and barrel aged thing. And, it's still producing those, but I don't think it's quite as featured as it was. I think those wild mixed ale beers, I think their moment passed a little bit. There's still people that are fans, but not like it was, say, 4 or 5 years ago.
It's
for those
it kind of sad.
Yeah,
I'd love for that to come back. I really would.
Everything's cyclical. I'm sure it'll come back.
Sure. It'll do the rounds there. We're back to drinking beer flavored beer now, So
yeah, I'm kind of okay with that, honestly.
The full circle.
And people are drinking chocolate martinis again. So we're
that's
back
right. The espresso martinis.
Martinis. Yeah, espresso martinis. My bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which those were good. I've never had one. I liked it. It was very good.
Yeah. I remember. I guess it would have been 20-ish years ago, maybe the tail end of the last time espresso martinis were cool. But I went to an event at the Fox Theater. I think I went to see Cats actually back with when I was married. So with my now ex-wife, we went down to see Cats, and that was one of the featured drinks there. And we thought we were cool. We're at the theater having espresso martinis. So
the Fox is on my list right now.
Uh-oh,
another
more
story.
stories. So many stories. So many
It's been a
stories.
week. Yeah. So
Yeah,
many stories.
fun stuff. But yeah, that's my thoughts on all that, Brian.
The only reason I ever stopped drinking espresso martinis is I was buying a pre-made mixer from back in the day from, I think it's like Cost Plus World Market. They had an espresso martini. They used to have a whole lineup of different martinis, I think way back when martinis were last hot. And it dwindled down to just that one, but I would still buy it because it was easy. I would just mix that with, I think, vodka or whatever. And I don't even know if I put it on ice or if I actually put it in a martini glass occasionally, but I drank it all the time because I love coffee. And like this is coffee plus sugar and vodka, basically. This is fantastic. I love it. And then that disappeared because apparently I was the only one buying it. So I forgot about it until just recently, until it came back. And I'm happy to see it again. And I am not ashamed at all about it. I've been a fan since way back when.
Back in the day, Brian was
That's
drinking the espresso martinis.
I was.
When he had no beard.
Yeah,
you know, I
Brian.
didn't.
Just a little goatee
I
thing
had the
going
goatee,
on there.
yeah.
Just a little goatee.
Little
Well,
hipster
Brian, it seems like things are tough all over for beer these days. Even our friends across the pond are having some struggles, aren't they?
Yeah. We found out recently that beer sales in Germany are down kind of considerably. This is after a brief rebound at the beginning of the year following the lifting of the COVID restrictions. Sales dropped 1.1 billion gallons in January to June period. I'm having real trouble with that. So they
Galleons,
dropped to
Spanish galleons full of beer
dropped
in
to
Germany.
Spanish galleons. It's a 2.9% lower than the previous year. I just am having all kinds of trouble with this. This figure includes both domestic sales and exports of German beer, but also beer imported from other EU. Man,
I'm
became
loving
dyslexic.
this. I'm loving this.
Did you have the pitcher of margaritas? Because I thought I was the one that had them.
I think by osmosis I must have. It's all the thinking about espresso martinis. So all of these figures include beers imported from EU countries into Germany. So interestingly, the figures do not include non-alcoholic beer. Sales inside Germany are down 3.5%, and they account for 82% of the total that's figured into this. But exports were only down slightly with a 0.4% decline. In comparison to a decade ago, 2013, for people who don't want to do the math, beer sales are down a whopping 12.2%, though non-alcoholic beer sales are double what they were in 2013, which sounds really good, but unfortunately, non-alcoholic beer sales only make up about 5% of the total beer sales in Germany. The statistics office blames the cool weather in the spring and the persistently high inflation for the current decline in beer sales. It's hurting both consumers who have less money to spend and breweries who are having a tough time dealing with the increased expenses across the board. They realize they can't just take all of these expenses and put them on the consumer because the consumer is shy about paying more for anything, really. So if you want to continue selling your beer, you have to swallow some of that. So, the German beer export sales are still fairly strong comparatively. Do you guys have a favorite German beer, and what was the last one you had? Anybody?
See, I try and be quiet so others can talk, but
why you gotta put me?
I'll just get. Well, Brian, again, in 3 weeks, the Oktoberfest are going to be here.
That's
so
true.
I'm going to go. You got the
please
Hofbrau
invite me. Do
Oktoberfest.
not. I want some schnitzel.
You gotta wait a minute. I'm in the middle of saying something.
Okay, talk.
I'm in the middle of talking here. So that's my favorite time of the year for German beers, Brian. And you know what? They got great lagers and all that, but to be honest, I find a lot of lagers here that I like anyhow. So seasonally, I'm a seasonal German beer drinker. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Nate.
Yeah.
Oh, Warsteiner. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Smalls. Any other ones? Warsteiner.
Oh God. Why you put me on the spot? Go talk to Nate.
I gave you a minute. All right, I'm putting Nate
Yeah.
on the spot. Nate, favorite German beer?
I think it's the Warsteiner, but the Dunkel. Just case in point, I'm drinking a Dunkel right now. But I agree with you, Tim. I find myself being a seasonal German beer drinker, and it's because when those Marzens and that's a good one too, Brian. That's a really good one too for our.
It's
our
a bit
listeners
burger
and not
for
our
those
viewers.
not
It's
watching.
A burger.
He's holding up a bit burger.
When Nate was done, I was going to say that my not even guilty pleasure anymore. I've fully on board with the Bitburger Pilsner. I happen to be drinking a collaboration with them right now, but the regular Bitburger Pilsner is by far my favorite German beer right now. So I get that pretty regularly, and just anytime I need just a good crisp German, Pilsner, that's what I'm going for. So
Brian, I also love a good German Pils, although I don't drink them much. I love a good German Oktoberfest. And Brian, let's say I wanted to go somewhere that had like maybe craft beer and food trucks and see if they had something German on tap. Do you have any suggestions for where I could go?
Well, a place that you could go, Truck and Tap. Yeah, speaking of Truck and Tap, last week I was talking about this fun new game I'm calling Truck and Tap Roulette. And I haven't had a chance to try it in real life yet, but I did play the home game this week, a dry run, if you will. I picked the location nearest to me. Turns out it's Alpharetta. It's a bit closer to me than like the Woodstock, the Duluth, and the Lawrenceville locations. Then I got a random number between 1 and 20. That came up with 3, which was Victory's Golden Monkey on tap 3 at the Alpharetta Truck and Tap. And I got to say, I approve. I'm happy with Lady Luck's decision on that. And it made to make things even more interesting because they've got the truck there and I have the ability to summon multiple random numbers. I picked another random number. And from the burger food truck that happens to be there, I got a blue cheese portobello burger, which made this the easiest decision ever. Will the combination of the Victory Golden Monkey and the blue cheese portobello burger work? I have no idea. There's only one way to find out. But, of course, you don't have to play games to have a good time at Truck and Tap. They do have 20 beers on tap to choose from, and you don't even have to leave it up to fate. You can always check what's pouring before you visit by going to truckandtap.com, or you can go with wine or spirits if you prefer. Those are available as well. And you did hear that right earlier. They do have a Lawrenceville location now, and that beer list is looking just so strong right now. They have Abraxas on the list. I saw an IPA from WeldWorks. They have a great stout from Variant that I would very much like to be drinking right now. So definitely stop by the Lawrenceville Truck and Tap when you're in the area. And if you're not in the area, come up with a reason to go to Lawrenceville and check it out. So truckandtap.com.
That is exactly what I was looking for, Brian. I appreciate that bit of information. That'd be very helpful. Alpharetta isn't too far for me. Lawrenceville is a little bit further, but the Battery in Atlanta is not too far for me. I'm just off the interstate here. I can take a straight shot down there. And when I go to the Battery, I'm always wanting some barbecue, Brian. So I head over to the Terrapin Brewery Atlanta, partnered up with Fox Brothers Barbecue. And Brian, every now and then they run a special where they have deep fried ribs on there, country fried ribs. So they take their smoked ribs, batter them up, country fry them. It's insane. It's insane. It's not good for you. This is going to have to be your cheat day, but you can go down there, get some good ribs, have a good time with it. Brian, they actually got the best burger award from a hamburger for a burger that wasn't even a burger. That's how good it was there. But you're going to need something tasty to pair with it. So the Terrapin Tap Room's got you covered, man. They're going to have classics on there like their Crunkles. They're going to have their new Mexican lager on there. Los Bravos are not new, but they're Mexican lager on there. Los Bravos.
Oh, yeah.
And they're always tapping something new there, Brian. For example, on Saturday, August 19th, Triple Buzz is coming out. We mentioned this last week. Want to make sure you don't miss it. Triple Buzz. It's a Belgian triple brewed in collaboration with a former Braves player and now a television broadcaster, Peter Moylan. It's bright. They say it's effervescent. A Belgian ale with a sharp sting at 9.3% ABV. That beer brings some sweetness to it with locally sourced honey from Grant Boys Honey. And if you don't know this, Peter Moylan has one of their hives at his house that he cares for. He has his own beehive there. So an apiary there. So yes. The very following week, Brian, go down there, get that Belgian triple tried out. Come back the next weekend, Brian, because there's going to be a beer festival, and we will be there. It's live at the Battery Atlanta, and Terrapin Beer Company is sponsoring this beer fest. There's going to be over 100 beers. There's going to be local vendors, art markets, bites around everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the debut, Brian, of our new festival tent. So we're excited about that. Yeah. We got a very fancy festival tent that we're going to bring out there and show off. So come around. We're trying to get Spike from Terrapin to come join us on the show. Spike's a world traveler now, so it's hard to nail him down, but we're trying to get Spike nailed down. Otherwise, we're going to talk to some of the other great guys there. Mark or Chad at the Terrapin Tap Room are always a blast to talk with. So come down, join us. It's going to be a good time.
And if you follow Spike on social media, harass him to make him come down. I'm just
That's
kidding.
right.
Don't do that.
Everybody
Don't do
go to Twitter and Instagram and tell Spike to join the beer guys at the festival. Let him know that you want to hear from him. He's crazy. What was this socks that he was wearing over at the Bold Monk Fest? Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle socks, I think.
So, yeah.
I think so. I just liked his tip was like, just no Spike. Just know me.
Spike.
So we all know
Just know me.
Spike.
Yeah.
See, that's why he needs to be there.
That's
Just
how you
say we
handle
know
a
him.
beer fest. Just no Spike.
There's no
That's
Spike.
the beer festival tip. No Spike. Friends of Spike.
It's Friends
there.
of Spike.
Yeah.
I need that t-shirt.
We are going to take. We're going to take a quick break, refill our beers, freshen up. We'll be back in less than 5 minutes. Welcome back. Welcome back. We did it. Looks like we made
Success.
it. So, Smalls, you were mentioning something about invite you and something about schnitzel and that.
Yes, I want some schnitzel. I want some spetzel. I want some pretzel, and I want some cheese and some beer. All the S's.
Are there more Zetzels out there?
Zetzels, pretzels. Yeah.
None of that stuff's on my diet anymore. I can't eat that
Cheat
stuff.
day. Make
Yeah,
it.
Cheat
gotta have
day,
one good
man.
cheat day
Come on.
there.
All right. You need to come work out with me, and then you
I
can have
do.
multiple cheat days.
I do
You
got to
become
get I
die.
do got to get some more working out in there. I've been very well behaved with my diet.
See, I've been crappy
if
with
you're
my diet,
listening
but I work
now,
out.
I'm down 67 pounds, y'all. So that's in
Woo!
about
Oh.
a year. So, quite a bit of
It's
weight.
impressive.
So it's working. It's working.
Mhm.
I think I do need to start at least doing some weight training though. 'cause
All
I
right,
do
I'll
need
come
to
bring
tone
weights
up
to your
something.
house,
And
and we'll
we'll hit
we'll
it.
baby step it.
Yeah, I've got a
And then
set
you-
of free weights that.
All right, see, there we go. And
are
then you
good
come to
stuff.
my
Yeah.
house and we start flinging stuff around. It'll be great.
You
Let's
got
do
the
it.
full gym there, don't
I
you?
got the full gym. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
See,
Well,
Every
you're
day's a
taller
cheat
than
day
me.
when you work out with Smalls.
That's right.
that's right. Every day's a cheat day. My cheat day is days that end in Y.
Yes.
I need that on a
Pretty much.
t-shirt. Every day's a cheat day.
Every day's a cheat day.
Yeah, every day's a cheat day though. ... When you work out with Smalls. Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
okay. That's in
Yeah.
much smaller font underneath it. You're
'Cause
like,
yeah.
what's that?
You
say?"
Smaller font.
Don't worry about it.
So have a
Don't.
T-shirt that's got like beer and pretzels and a burger on it, and just say today is my cheat day, and
There
that's
you
it.
go.
That's today. This is my cheat day. So yeah.
I mean, I have many of those shirts. Like I say,
Yeah.
like tacos and pizza, and
Uh-huh.
I don't feel guilty anymore because
That's why you work out.
I work
right? No-
hard. Work
yeah.
out. Yeah, work hard.
That's
burpees.
Back
Yeah.
before Brian and I got into homebrewing heavy, we were very big into hiking. Like we went hiking every weekend, and no joke kind of hikes. We do upwards of 10 miles. We didn't like climb mountains, but we got into some pretty hilly terrain in that. So, and us being bigger guys, it burned a lot of calories. So if we went and had
Oh,
wings
yeah.
and a few beers, we were still in a deficit for the day. We totally earned the wings and beer because we crushed it on the mountain.
I will
So,
tell you that beer never tastes better than after a long, long hike. And
yeah.
I mean, I never once after any of those hikes felt guilty about anything I ate. I'm like, whatever. It doesn't. And I was more at that point in time. I was a little bit more concerned. Obviously, I look like how I do now because of lack of concern. But
unfortunately,
back
right.
then, I was far more concerned about what I was eating and everything else, and never felt bad about it. I'm like, this is a day that I can do anything I want because I seriously burned almost 2,000,
you do
like an
it,
entire
yeah.
day's worth of calories in a couple of hours of a hilly hike. I'm like, I can eat anything. I can do whatever I
Yeah.
want. My stomach is
And
invincible.
on the note there, not healthy, so still, maybe not nutritious, but if that's a once a week thing or an occasional thing, then it's not just the calories. Yeah, you wouldn't
True,
want that
true.
every day. But I'm doing
Yeah.
all the watching my macro stuff and now making sure I get enough
I
protein.
know you make me feel
and
guilty because you're like, I ate a salad today. I'm like,
I did. I ate a
I
lot.
had Taco
so
Bell.
much stuff. See, that's you know what? It's been right at a month since I've had anything like a burger, Taco Bell, anything like. I've got
making me feel guilty. I'm
I
supposed to
got
be the healthy
chicken
one.
fajitas from the Mexican restaurant, but I didn't eat any of the rice.
Yeah, if you don't eat any of the
And
rice
so,
or the
it's
tortillas or
yeah.
whatever, it's good. It's keto. It's low carb. Yeah.
I think it's funny that the person who probably eats the worst amongst all of us is probably Smalls and is also the one that's the smallest of all. of us.
That's how they do it, man. They get out there and crush it 6-7 days a week, and it's allowed.
And we
so.
we eat like garbage. That's why my cholesterol is garbage. But yeah.
yeah. So
You don't have
fun.
blood, you have cholesterol. Sister.
Yeah, that's what's keeping me
Cholesterol.
pumping.
3% blood in her cholesterol system there.
That's right.
She's
It
running
all
on
keeps flowing. It's-
I'm a
yeah.
size 6, so I'm rocking it. We're going with it.
She's like a diesel engine running on, keep all the cylinders lubed with plenty of oil in that. So
Oh,
good
wow, that's
stuff.
gross.
Rick, thanks for joining us, man. Good to
Cheers.
see you. Thanks, Rick. Cheers to you. Awesome. Brian, I'm going to bring you in. You ready? I didn't realize we only had one story left, so I would
Yeah.
have probably not taken the break right then, but oh well, we'll
You
make
can
it through
BS
it.
it. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Give me 5 seconds of silence. I'm going to bring Brian in. Brian, there's struggles all around the world for beer, but Guinness has some surprising news for us, right?
That is correct. In a sharp contrast to the earlier Germany situation where all of their domestic sales are really tanking, Diageo is saying, Diageo being the owner of Guinness these days, Guinness posted its best year globally. Its net sales grew by 9% in all regions and driven strongly by performance in Great Britain, Ireland, North America, and Africa. I did not realize Africa was such a big player in Guinness, but Africa apparently for Guinness is huge. What's interesting is that Diageo's overall net sales were weighed down by a decline in Smirnoff flavored malt beverages, or FMBs as we like to call them. In recent times, it's usually been the other way around. Older beer brands are typically being buoyed up, supported by newer non-beer beverages, seltzers and the various fermented malt beverages and RTD cocktails. But no, it's the other way around. Guinness is actually getting pulled back down by Smirnoff beverages, which
interesting.
I would have never expected that. Have you guys had any of this Smirnoff stuff recently?
Oh, I mean, God, not since college. No.
That's what I was thinking. That's old stuff, isn't it? They're not the new trendy FMBs. Are we talking like Smirnoff Ice type stuff here, Brian?
Yeah, I think so. I looked at their website the other day, and I was looking, and they have a lot of different Smirnoff categories, like way more than I ever expected. But it did look like, this is stuff that I think we drank maybe in the 90s or something like that.
Yeah, I remember drinking a lot of Smirnoff Ice in college. You throw granted, they didn't have Zima back in my day when I was in college, so you had the Smirnoff Ice and you would drop your Jolly Ranchers and whatnot into it then, but man,
you did Jolly Ranchers. You did Jolly Ranchers in the Smirnoff too.
Yeah, you made me feel old now, Brian.
Yeah,
you can't feel too old. I remember the Zima phase of it, so at least you were ahead of that. So
I remember that as well. So when was the last time you guys actually had Guinness, though? Since apparently Guinness is doing gangbusters, is that a St. Patty's Day thing for you,
or
like 3 weeks ago?
Maybe this year. Like that's always been kind of my go-to is Guinness because Guinness is a low-calorie beer. That's a good one to drink. So we're just talking about like working out and calories and food and what Guinness is a good one, but it's not my go-to these days.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I had Guinness last week. There's a spot in downtown Smyrna that I get Guinness all the time at, and Guinness is a everyday staple at our house. We try to keep it on hand here just to have because it's easy drinking. You don't have to think about it.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point.
I'd say probably I always go out and get it on St. Patty's Day. I like going to Irish pubs to eat, and anytime I go to an Irish pub, I got to get a Guinness. So that definitely increases my Guinness consumption throughout the year. Is that I don't know. I probably hit an Irish pub every 2-3 months. So there's 4 or 5 times. If you remember, Brian, when we got together at Small's house a few weeks ago, we had a Guinness in the mix there. So there was some Guinness.
Yeah, and I asked if you could chug a Guinness, and nobody could answer that question.
That's it. Shotgun one, right?
Yeah, because we still need to try that out.
Get that widget just shooting it in there for you. Straight injection.
That does seem seems dangerous. It's like drinking a Milko pour, while
shotgun
it's
in the
forming.
Milko pour. Yeah.
Well, you're meant to drink those really fast, but that's already kind of settled into a wet foam. That's actively gassing, so I'm thinking it may continue erupting in your stomach. I don't know.
Well, I feel like shotgunning a Guinness is kind of like trying to do the gallon challenge. There's only one outcome here, and it's not pretty.
Hold on,
just
the
get it on
gallon
camera.
challenge?
I don't. So okay, you're gonna have to explain that to me.
Well, what's the
where
gallon
you try to
challenge?
chug a gallon of milk in one sitting?
Okay.
Why would you want to do that? Maybe Borg. I could see trying to chug
kids
a
are
gallon
dumb and
of
they do
Borg,
dumb
but-
things.
So are you saying that shotgun in the Guinness would basically just bring it right back out? Is that what you're implying here?
I feel like it, yeah. Because you see how much that cascading foam. I think your body can only take so much of it.
So I'm going to say something gross here. So I'm going to say use your skip button on your podcast player if you don't want to hear this. But back in my early 20s, we were sitting around drinking, and I had a buddy who'd had a lot of beer. And we call them double deuces, but the 22-ounce bottles. This was back, macro drinking that, but double deuce, 40 ounces that. Well, this guy had a double deuce of Bud Light, and he turned it up and did the bottle swirl thing where it would shotgun down in there.
Oh,
and so he did that. And I'm telling you all, he was 5 sheets to the wind when he did this. And he swirls that bottle and shotguns that beer, probably 5 seconds for the whole 22 ounces. And he stands there and he mumbles something incoherent. And I'm telling you, y'all, like a water fountain. That whole 22 ounces just came like he had a water hose coming. It just returned to sender there. So
So
we
how
now
was he
return to him.
afterwards? Was he's like, all right, let's go
he
again,
was
or was,
no,
was
no,
he
no,
out?
no. He was. I believe he literally fell to the ground. So yeah, it's. I think that that was kind of the harbinger when that came up. That was letting us know that the pressure was being released, and that was deflated. He was deflated there.
Yeah,
So.
I just think that the level of carbonation involved with that, and that's why I'm terrible at chugging beer. The carbonation always messes with me. I don't know physiologically if I'm ill-equipped to handle it. I feel like it foams up everywhere. Even if I try to drink normally but fast, it's just like, oh my gosh, I have so much gas in me now. I need a minute. So
if you pour it right, you can off gas it a lot, but that doesn't stop it
Yeah.
100%. And I typically try not to drink my beers too fast, but every now and then you're thirsty, it's hot, and that the bad thing is man, it really gashes you up. I mean, you know, you'll just get so bloated from it. It's like you said, it's not the liquid. It's that you pour. It's like throwing an Alka-Seltzer into your stomach, you know. So
I'm
I
sorry.
think of
This
it- I
is
think
making me laugh because you all sound like a bunch of women. Like, oh my god, I'm so gassy. I don't want anybody to see
I
it."
am. Oh no.
I do declare.
I don't
Let
care
it
if they see
go.
it. I'm just thinking of the
Let it
discomfort
go.
and the
And that's why I'm a beer guy. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Just
You know
let
how
it
you
go.
get that burp where the carbonation goes through your nostrils and burns your
Mhm.
nostrils when you drink too fast? Get one of those. So
I think the people that like to do the chugs of I see people doing like it's edgy or whatever. Like, oh, I'm gonna chug this imperial stout. I'm gonna chug this smoothie sour. Here's the thing. Yes, higher gravity, and some of them are really sugary and all that, but a lot of those are lower carbonation, so it's actually less physically taxing to do in terms of the carbonation. So it's actually smart. I'm like, oh yeah, your lager, that's just for wusses.
I don't know that I'd call that smart. I need to interject that right now, Brian. I don't know that if I'd use the term that's smart. I don't think I'd use it in that context.
Perhaps not, but if you're comparing it like the mechanics of chugging, the smart choice is to go with the one that has the lower carbonation. So you get one of those really, really motor oily stouts that it's like very little carbonation left in it, and you don't care because the flavor is good, and that's what you go with your chug. Now, yeah, it'll put you right on the floor almost immediately, but at the same time, you won't be a complete mess. Maybe
Oh
not.
no,
I don't
you
know.
are.
So the
Maybe.
good folks at Primitive Beer, Brian, sent us a 1.5 liter box of a still lambic. What about chugging 1.5 liters of a lambic?
Oh my goodness.
Still.
No,
right.
right. It's still. So there's the
Yeah.
carbonation issue is it. And
All
that
right.
had a little spout like a box wine. You could just go to
Yeah.
town there.
You know what? I guess if you got your breathing down right, because that spout wouldn't pour fast enough. I think you really want to do that swirl to get it flying down.
Or just open the bag.
chug
Open the
mechanics
bag,
here.
cut the bag
Yeah.
open.
Puncture the top of the bag, open it up, and let it fly. So my problem with something like that, is it possible? Yes. Like, would it be ideal? No, because like your stomach would just be torn up by that.
It's
I'd hate
just
to
smart,
waste
Brian.
something like that. I want to taste it. The problem with chugging stuff, chug something that you don't really care about tasting or you have plenty of. Something like that, a good lambic, a really good lambic. I don't want to chug that. I want to taste it. I want to sip it for a long period of time. That's the hardest part of
So
it for me. Yeah.
taste it eventually, and then you're gonna chug it for the socials. That's what you're doing.
Chug it for the
okay.
socials. Do it for the gram.
Yes.
Brian,
Hashtag.
what 10 seafood would pair best with chugging 1.5 liters of Glue Creek?
Oh boy. I'm gonna go with I don't know. I'm gonna say octopus, because I've seen that because that's off the wall, and I'm just going
Pulpo.
to assume that would
Yeah.
be pulpo. Yeah, let's go with that, because
Okay.
that's when you're pairing. I want to like for like, weird with weird, chugging still creek or lambic, and octopus. Those are like for like. They're both odd, so I think
There
I
we
would go with
go.
that. Yeah.
Y'all, that's it. Creek and octopus, Brian's suggestion. If you try it, let
Yeah.
us know. You know what? If anybody out there is into 10 fish and you have recommendations, let us know, because we're in our exploratory phase right now. And I think we may have to hit Capella cheese and get some cheese. They actually have some 10 fish there. So we
Oh,
get
do they?
fish and
Okay.
10 seafood and
McDonald's.
all the accoutrement and stuff like that. And we can find out on our own what beer is going to pair best with them. But y'all, I think that is a good note to end on today. Smalls, good to see you as always. And we'll be back next week. We're going to have more next week. So make sure to come and join us for more craft beer info. Follow us online. We're on all the socials. We're even on TikTok now. That Smalls is running our TikTok. We are even on TikTok. So if you're a TikToker, look for Beer Guys Radio 1. We don't want to talk about why we had to get that username, but everything else, we are Beer Guys Radio. So y'all, thanks for tuning in. Have an absolutely amazing week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Cool.
All right. I like I was cheersing like we were leaving the live stream. We're still in the live stream, but
we're
cheers
still
to the people that we were recording for. Also, cheers to you. Yeah,
we're still so. We're now going to turn this into 10 Seafood Talk. I want to talk about it there, but I didn't want to dominate the show. Maybe bring it back around to beer. But I felt, the cheese spreadsheet we've got, Smalls. We did add a tab for 10 seafoods on there, so we've got.
you have access to it too. Cool. All right.
Yep. So we've got that out there, and
I was over at Emory yesterday, and I got to leave early, and I drove by Capella's, and I was like, oh, I'm so tempted to stop by and get stuff.
Why didn't you?
Because I had a call at 1:00, and I was like, I get home to be on the stupid call. I really want to be here, especially since they have the parking that's like specifically for Capella's. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, makes
Take
it easy.
from the cheese shop. Take the call from the cheese shop while you're eating cheese.
Especially since I just made fresh pesto. I was like, oh, I really want some fresh mozzarella from them and make some damn paninis. Oh, that'd be fabulous. Yeah.
You know what I want? I love that La Muse signature Gouda. I mean, I like getting that every time I go there. Brian, I know you're the Widmer 10-year. You're all about
that cheddar. Yeah. Oh,
I need to find out which blue cheese I got last time I was there, because it's got a nice funk to it, and it was almost like a heavy butter with the consistency. Very creamy, very silky, super silky, and kind of melted on your palate. And
that's the best kind to like make a sauce with like gnocchi or something. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the creamy blues. Yes.
They probably, because I think they track what you buy. I get emails. I'll get an email receipt from them. I don't even know if I signed up for it, but they figured it out somehow through sorcery and technology. But I have looked. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I got this last time. You should look. They probably have it on your profile when you go in there next time. Say, hey, what did I order?
I'll ask them.
Let me get that blue cheese again.
Get the blue cheese. Y'all, we're going to end the live stream now. If you are one of our Patreon supporters, we're going to post the link in our Discord chat where you can join us for the after party and have a beer. So thanks, y'all. We will see you next week.